Hey guys, Scott here with information on patch 8.2.2 for Dead by Daylight, which addresses some things with Dracula and Nemesis mostly, a couple of other little minor bug fixes, but those are the two most important parts, so those are the things I'm going to talk about. It's sort of a side grade for Dracula, and I'll explain why. It looks like it's all buffs, but it's not really, and it also is just a flat upgrade to Nemesis. So Nemesis was supposed to have a longer hinder time when he hits his first tentacle on an uninfected survivor, and Liquor Tongue was an add-on that increased that duration by 3 seconds, which is insane. The problem was the hinder was like not even noticeable. It was like 5%. It's supposed to be 20%. So we all thought Liquor Tongue was going to be wildly overpowered, and to be fair, with a 20% slowdown for a grand total of 5 seconds, that would actually be too strong. So what they did is exactly what I thought they would do, is make the hinder back to 20%, which it should have been, and then they nerfed Liquor Tongue down to 1 second, which is still, in my opinion, worth running, because you're going to get, I think, 1.8 seconds of speed burst from getting hit, and then you'll have an additional 1.2 seconds of them moving at 80% movement speed, which is very, very noticeable. Just go into a custom game with bots and hit somebody. It's very noticeable, that last little chunk of time where they gain like 0 distance. So absolutely a huge buff to the early game of Nemesis. There's no real other way to look at it. This is just a pretty much massive buff. Liquor Tongue getting nerfed is completely understandable, because 5 seconds of that slowdown would be ridiculous. It would basically let you get it down within the first 15 seconds of a chase starting, and I don't think that's great, considering he's got built-in slowdown with zombies as well, and his tier 3 is now significantly stronger with the increased range. Cooldown is also better, flat across all tiers, so I think it might have made him actually slightly obnoxious to go against if he had that strong of an instant down, basically, with the 5-second 20% slow at the start. So this is a great way to do it. I tested it a bunch against bots. Yeah, they gain very, very little distance now. The initial speed burst you get is 150% movement speed, or 165, I forget. It's about there. So those first, that first little bit of time, you can't really notice it, but you will notice it after that. After it expires when you're running Liquor Tongue. So I think my go-to setup now is going to be Liquor Tongue and Marvin's Blood. I've never really been a fan of the passive zombie builds with like Discordance and Surveillance and, zombie movement speed and using the zombie. I don't like relying on the RNG of zombies. I just like using the insanely strong chase power of Nemesis. So Liquor Tongue, Marvin's Blood, that's my go-to now. I can't imagine I'm ever going to run any other two add-ons. But overall, huge buff to Nemesis. You can definitely feel it. It's a bug fix, not a buff, but it's a bug fix that buffs him. So I'm just going to call it a buff. Next, we have Dracula, and it looks like he got a bunch of buffs, but it's not so simple. So Bat Form movement speed is notably faster, teleporting speed while in Bat Form notably faster, shapeshifting cooldown was cut in half, which feels great, and the magical ticket add-on is now reduced to 10% to compensate for the teleport. That was the teleport speed add-on. They just basically gave a bit of that base kit, which is something they pretty commonly do. So that all sounds well and good. That sounds like it's flat buffs, but not quite. It's gonna feel great with those things, but they also nerfed two very major things. One was a massive, honestly, exploit that did need to be fixed, where you could essentially attack people with Hellfire while you were a bat, and it was pretty much unreactable. It was very stupid. So that is a bug that made him very strong, but it was without a doubt an exploit. I saw people abusing it all the time. There's no counterplay to it. You can't react to it because it just happens instantly, and it's very stupid. So unfortunately, that did need to be changed. So it is a nerf, but it's a bug fix that needed to happen. Another huge issue is here, a collision issue with the Dark Lord's pounce attacks. So the wolf form used to be able to basically do what's called a hug tech, where you angle your camera down, and this allows you to glide along terrain rather than colliding with it. Blight can do this as well, or rather, he used to be able to do it pretty effortlessly. And so when you do that, you slide around terrain, and you can get around objects you normally would not be able to get to. The way the devs coded the power, it's supposed to be point here. Like you go here to here, or here to here, here to here. It's supposed to be just 2 lines, but you could basically round corners with that, and that made him way stronger and made wolf form actually super viable to get hits. Now wolf form is not going to be that great anymore, because you're just down to those 2 hits. It'll still work at straight tiles like shack or TL walls, things like that, but anything with a rounded loop, it's not going to be nearly as effective anymore. So that is actually a pretty sizable nerf. So between the bug fix of the instant attack and the bug fix of hug tech not working anymore, I would say he basically comes out neutral. These will all feel very nice, but his actual ability to down has gone down pretty significantly. So that will hurt him a lot. I actually think he's now weaker than before. Just the simple removing hug tech from the wolf form. Wolf form is not that great without it. It's just not that great. It's like a very bad Wesker dash. So yeah, I don't know. I think he's actually going to be weaker. I think he's like a mid B tier killer. I actually think he's like below Nemesis now with these changes. So, but that's just my opinion. I didn't play him too much because I didn't really like him that much. But for the most part, yeah, I feel like that's overall going to be a barely noticeable, but noticeable nerf to his overall power level. Everything else, nothing super important, just very niche specific killers getting stuck in terrain in certain areas, things like that. Nurse can't blink on a type of a specific pillar, whatever. Just not very important things. They appear to not have addressed the sound issue yet. People getting quick and quiet for free, flashbangs making no sound, audio occlusion completely broken, no sounds behind walls. So it's something that they're aware of. I saw on Reddit they said they are aware of it, but they're aware of it every 6 months because it happens like 3 times a year. So I don't know if we'll get it fixed this time, but hopefully soon because that's been very frustrating on Killer. But overall, as a new Nemesis main, I'm very happy with this patch because I feel a lot stronger now. Draculas are probably kind of, and everything else is honestly not really worth talking about. But that is going to be it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.